All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Interrogating. Today I'm interrogating one of my good friends, Luke. Luke is a collegiate, basically a pro Quidditch player.
Yes.
So can you explain what that means?
Basically, I play for the University of Texas Quidditch team, which is basically the highest level there is. There's also like Major League Quidditch and like international Quidditch, but the main season that everybody participates in is during the school year, and that's with schools. And it's basically the same, except you don't fly, and instead of broomsticks, it's PVC pipes.
Yeah, so that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. So is it similar to in the books, or is it totally different than in the books and the movie?
It's similar on certain things, like each score is still 10 points, and then like one of the big differences is it's physical in the book, but it's tackle like in real life to kind of like replicate that. So it's tackle, it's gender inclusive, and the end, instead of like a ball for the snitch, it's just some guy with yellow shorts and then a tennis ball velcroed to his back waistband. And if you catch it, it's 30 points and the game ends, instead of the book where it's 150 points and the game ends.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's similar, but you're not flying, of course. And
no, we're not flying.
And does the PVC pipe serve any purpose, or is that just basically to make your life harder and make it look like you're on a broomstick?
Well, I mean, it's trying to have like loyalty to the book, I guess. And like, there has been talk of like taking the broomstick away, but like it adds definitely a challenge, like trying to squeeze it between your legs and catching with two hands, or like.
Oh, so you don't hold the pipe with your hand?
No, you do, but you're encouraged to catch the ball with two hands. So if someone passes it to you, you're supposed to squeeze and catch.
That's awkward.
And then like I'm a keeper, so like I'm at the hoops, and so like they encourage me to like squeeze and go up like this or whatever if someone's trying to do that. So.
Okay. Collegiate. So you're Division I Quidditch, basically.
Yeah.
Do you play against like Division II and other schools? Because like I feel like there's not that many schools that do Quidditch.
There are. We like pretty much most major schools will have them. Like this season, we mainly play against Southwest teams. We've played against Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, A&M, Baylor, Texas State, and yeah, mainly. And then there's also like community teams, which are basically ex-college players that formed their own teams, and we compete against them during the regular season. But when regionals and nationals come around, we split it up, and there's a college champion and a community champion.
Have you ever won the national championship?
I personally have not, but Texas has won 3 of them, and we're doing pretty well this season. So in April, we will see what happens.
Okay. Have you read all the Harry Potter books?
No, I've read 3 books and I've seen 3 movies. So I haven't seen all the movies either, but that's because it's like a phenomenon, and I want to read the books first. And once you get to the 4th book, it starts to get really, really long. So I just haven't had time to read the remaining like 5 books or whatever. So I haven't seen the rest of the 5 movies, even though some things have been spoiled. But I have a gist of the world. Okay.
So for people who know nothing about Quidditch, what sport would you compare it to the most? What is it most like?
Lacrosse. Maybe.
Okay.
The movement is very similar to basketball and lacrosse and like hockey, where it's just like very fluid, and like you set screens, cuts, whatever. Subbing is also like hockey. There's not really a stoppage of play for subbing. You just come in and out like whenever. So I'd combine it with rugby, handball, lacrosse, basketball, and lacrosse.
Lacrosse again. Okay, cool. So you said it's gender inclusive and it's tackle. Mm-hmm. So you can just truck stick like anybody.
Yeah.
Like, when you first start playing, is it weird like going to like deck a girl?
Yeah. For sure. And it's weird for a second until like the next play and they deck you and they're like, okay, we're playing now. But yeah, it's definitely a little weird. But like after like a couple weeks of playing, like you just kind of, when you're a keeper, like your main job is to like tackle the girl if she gets the ball. So done it quite a bit. No big deal.
Pretty badass to tackle girls.
No big deal.
So is it like, it must be pretty intense then, right? Like, do you guys have workouts or trainings?
Yeah,
or practices,
we practice. We practice 3 hours on Friday night, and 3 hours Sunday morning. And then we have, for Texas, we have a mandatory conditioning session we have to go to. Like, they're every day of the week, but you have to go to one. So yeah, it's like 6 to 8 hours of practice a week. We take it way more serious than most schools do, just because like we've had like the history of winning, and like we really like doing it, and we really want to win. So
yeah. So do you think it'll ever get to a point where they can give like scholarships, or like will it get bigger or no?
I think well, it's very hard for a sport that it's really hard to understand and explain to people. Like even players, it takes like weeks to explain it to them, so it's hard for spectators to really get into it. But I think it definitely has potential to grow, just because a lot of people already know what Quidditch is. But I don't know. I think it could grow. It won't get to the level where they're offering scholarships or something, but I could see like maybe the international team getting like sponsorship deals or something like that, but not at the college level.
Would you want to play on a pro team? Would you play on an international team?
I would play for Team USA. I'm actually gonna try out for Team USA.
Oh, okay, that's pretty sweet. So I remember last year you actually had a pretty bad injury from Quidditch.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess talk a little bit about the physical side of it, and like because it's a full tackle sport, right? So it's pretty serious.
So it's full tackle. And there are rules like in football, like defenseless receiver and stuff like that. Like you can't hit them unless they make a Quidditch move. That's a real thing. And you can't dive for a ball if it impedes somebody's motion, or you can't hit below the knee. Those two rules were broken when I tore my ACL. The ball came like at my feet, and somebody dove for it and threw their entire body weight into the side of my knee. I have a video of it, but yeah, that is not fun. There's a lot of injuries in the sport.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird because since it's like just like a club sport without scholarships. Like it's not like someone can get like banned or like.
Yeah, I mean like the USQ, like our governing body or whatever, I suppose could do that, but like they're not at every tournament, and there are like cards like in soccer. There's like a yellow card and a red card, so you can get sent out of a game, but like other than that, yeah, not really any discipline.
So after your injury, you were out of the season last year for Quidditch.
It happened on the first play of the first game last season, my sophomore season.
Bro.
So I was out all year, and we had a really good team, and we lost in the national championship last year.
To who?
To University of Rochester.
Okay.
But we graduated the best player at each position. So I didn't have really high hopes for this year, but we've been doing really, really well. We're undefeated against college teams. And so, yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Dang. All right. That's pretty cool. So then I guess the next thing I wanted to talk about is other than Quidditch, you're going to school for business and film, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about film because I know that's kind of what you're into. So I guess first, could you talk about your movie? Because you're in a feature film that's coming out next year or this year?
It's coming out in the spring. So this year, 2019, it's the year now. Yeah, it's called The Bob Zula. It's a coming-of-age comedy, independent film that we shot in Austin with an Austin filmmaker, Brandon Reich. And, yeah, it comes out in spring. It was a really fun time to shoot. It took like 2 months to shoot, which is a little bit longer for a film like this because everybody who was shooting it was either had a full-time job or was a full-time student, so we did it in the afternoons and weekends. And it was a grind at times, but it was a really fun time, and we're starting to look at festivals now, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So for people who aren't really in the whole film industry, like, could you kind of explain like how or what it means that it's a feature film? Like, how is it different than if someone was to just go like make a film with their friends? Because like it's basically, what's the plan with this movie? Because you got to get it in a film festival, and then how do people watch it and stuff like that?
Yeah, so basically, for independent films like this, the purpose of festivals is to earn distribution. And so if you get, I don't know what kind of festivals we're going to get into, or if we're even going to apply to the big ones like Sundance or, whatever. But basically at festivals, you show your film, and then if someone likes it, like a production company, a distribution company or something likes it, then they will basically buy it from you, and then they will distribute it into theaters or onto a streaming platform or on their website or whatever, they limited release, whatever they want to do. And so that's usually how it goes. And then also when you do festivals, they don't let you release it online until it's shown at the festival to like encourage people to go to the festivals. So once we apply to festivals, see which ones we get into and how that goes, then it'll probably be released online. I don't know. I honestly, I'm a novice to this kind of thing because it's my first feature film too. So I'm not totally sure. It will be released online this year. I don't know.
For sure, at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. So once it is released, I'll be sure to link it and let everyone know how to watch it. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit more about acting. So you were the star in this movie, correct?
Mm-hmm. I am the Bob Zula.
So have you been acting for a while? Was this your first time?
This is my first feature film, so that means feature length, like you would see in theaters. And so my first short film, I had no dialogue. It was back in high school. I had dialogue written in, but the director cut it. So that's fine. But yeah, so I've been in like 3 to 4 short films before this, and this audition, like I thought it went pretty well. I was actually auditioning for the antagonist in this movie. And I just got a call for a callback and then a screen test. And then, it was, I'm definitely very lucky, but I've only been doing this for a couple of years.
What are the auditions like in these independent films? Like, what does that mean that you like went and auditioned? What is that process like?
So sometimes, it's different each time. Sometimes, most of the time, they'll just have you come in and they will give you a script on the spot, and it's called a cold read. Okay. So they'll give it to you and they're like, okay, take your time, read it over a couple times, and then let us know when you're ready. And so you have like a minute or whatever to read it and then like get into the right mindset and then do it.
Only 1 minute? Like, it's that fast?
You can request more time, but the whole thing is to like, they just want to give you can read from the script. You don't need to memorize it. Okay. But the whole thing is they just want you to be familiar with the character in the scene and then be able to go. Yeah. So that's what, and sometimes they'll give it to you ahead of time. Like they'll email it to you when they confirm your audition time. But for this one, it was a cold read. They had me read for 3 different characters. And so it was the producer and the director, Brandon, and they basically just had me read 3 different scenes, and then a couple weeks later they asked me to come back in for a callback one, which is where they did just a different scene, and then they said you have the role barring a pretty horrible screen test. And so screen test is when you actually shoot a whole scene with the other actors, mm-hmm. and they kind of see how you work with them and like how they think this will go. And yeah.
Wait, what does they mean? What did they mean by the horrible screen test?
Well, I mean, they didn't say that, but basically, you get called into a screen test to make sure that you're good with the other actors. Oh, okay. Like they think you're a pretty good actor on your own, but if you just cannot work off the other people, and then they can say like, no.
Okay. Is that your dream job? If money didn't matter at all, would you want to be an actor?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And that's actually my plan right now. I mean, it's my tentative plan. I hope to be able to do it. I'm going to spend the next year and a half in Austin, working more, trying to do acting classes and auditioning more for stuff. And then hopefully when I graduate, just to go all out in LA, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Do you feel like being a top actor in the world, is it more just raw talent and just people that are they just have that thing? Or do you think it's based on like taking classes, practicing on your own, like, or is it a combination of both? What do you think?
Well, I like to think that there are 2 separate categories of actors. I think there are movie star actors and then like actors. That sounds bad because like some of my favorite actors are movie star actors, but like, and some can be both. But I think there is a certain category of actors that just have it. And that doesn't mean that they haven't worked at it and they don't have that skill. Like that's really hard to do. Yeah. But I think there are some who go more the classically trained route. Like they study in England, they study in Chicago, they study in LA, and they've gone through theater and everything, and they're working up to that. And then there are some, who haven't done as much, but they just have that movie star quality that sells. And so, I mean, like some would say like Chris Pratt's like that. You don't usually see him playing someone other than Chris Pratt, but he's really good at it.
Yeah.
So I think it's different. And then there are some who are both, like Christian Bale is a movie star and an actor, and like stuff like that.
Cool. So moving on, who is your biggest inspiration? Not necessarily your favorite actor, but in the movie world, who's your biggest inspiration?
This jumps around a lot, but mine is probably right now it's Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
But for those who know me, know that I'm a huge superhero guy and a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe guy, and I've grown to love Thor over the years, and I just like Chris Hemsworth as a dude. Like, he's a really good actor, like in Bad Times at the El Royale. If you haven't seen that, he's really good in that too. That's why I think he's on like the brink of movie star and actor. But he's I just really admire that, like, his values, and you know, he still lives at home in Australia with his family. Like, he's jacked, which is pretty important to me. He's got, you know, great fitness routine. He's got these great values, you know. He's a feminist, you know. He seems like a really cool guy. And if I could hang out with anybody, that would be my for sure answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So then who's your favorite actor? Is it the same or is it different?
I will definitely like pretty much go see any movie that he's in for sure. But I think like my favorite actor like to watch like for purely like the skill is probably Christian Bale.
Okay.
Or Emma Stone. I just think they're so incredibly talented and like skilled at what they do that like any role that they're in, like I'll believe it, and it can be completely different from their last one. Like Chris Hemsworth mainly does some of the same stuff, but yeah. So it just depends on what I'm in the mood for, kind of.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah, that helps. If you want to be an actor, it kind of helps to be beautiful.
Yeah. Now, who is your favorite character in a movie? Not necessarily your favorite actor, but like your favorite role in a movie.
Okay, I guess because off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Spider-Man, just because I love Spider-Man a lot, and like I've seen all of the movies, but I think like him as a character and as like a superhero, it's just a little bit different than most superheroes. Like, and it's mainly because he just has everyday problems. Like, he's super relatable. That's like his whole point. And I just really love the thing about like the classic line about responsibility, like with great power comes great responsibility, because like that makes a lot of sense. If you have these outstanding powers and then you don't use them and then you see someone die, it's like, I could have been there. And so now he's like always torn between that and like being selfish for himself, because he doesn't get paid. Like he doesn't have money from this, managing his own love life and like saving other people's lives. So I Into the Spider-Verse, best movie of the year. I think it really dives into that character probably the best out of any Spider-Man movie. And so, yeah, he's my favorite character.
All right, what is your least favorite movie of all time?
Well, okay, that's hard, because like there are movies that are like super bad, but like they're still funny, like The Room.
Yep.
The Room is great, but it's like, it's funny. So I'm going to probably say it's very hard for me to hate a movie on the first watch. Like I liked Suicide Squad and like Batman vs Superman right away. After rewatching, didn't like them as much. The only movie that I thought I was going to kind of like that I just hated when I walked out of the theater was Justice League. I was so disappointed, because I'm a huge superhero guy, and it just looked so bad. It just wasn't good. I mean, they had like, you know, problems with like directors and stuff like that, and Henry Cavill's mustache, but it just wasn't good, and it was super disappointing.
Okay. On the flip side, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Probably my usual answer to this is The Dark Knight. Dark Knight, Interstellar is up there, Arrival. Yeah, those three are usually my answers. The Prestige, Christopher Nolan films in general, just so good.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's great. Now, at the end of each one of these episodes, I just want to ask my guests a couple miscellaneous questions.
Okay.
So we're gonna just go through. I only have 4 here, but do you believe in aliens? Why or why not?
Yes, I do believe in aliens. As the great Matthew McConaughey said in the movie Contact, I don't remember what the first part is.
I don't remember
what the first part is, but I know the last part.
Okay,
it goes like, if we're the only people in this universe, it sure is an awful waste of space. Because the universe is huge. There's got to be somebody out there, some being out there. Now, do I think that they could make contact with us? Yes, but I don't know. Hey, I don't know.
What do you think is your strongest character trait?
My strongest character trait.
Yeah. If you had to brag about one thing about
My
yourself.
humility. I think I'm just super humble. Yeah, let's see. I don't really like complimenting myself. I think I'm pretty empathetic.
Okay.
Sometimes to a fault. I guess like I prefer to be really, knowledgeable of other people's feelings and like try and, to help them out in certain situations. I mean, I don't know. That feels weird to say that about myself.
No.
But
yeah. I find that to be an interesting question because a lot of people don't like to compliment themselves. But all right, what's your biggest pet peeve?
I have two answers. One of them is on Twitter on the 3rd of every month, somebody tweets the Lil Uzi Vert video of him on his music video set, and it's his 3rd day, and he's like, "It's my 3rd day out here. I don't know, on the 3rd of every month." I hate that. And it just happened yesterday, and that's the worst. But in terms of like people, I don't like. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people are basically inconsiderate, and that can be being late, dominating conversation, forcing people to go somewhere that they want to go. So yeah, just like inconsiderate people, like, yeah.
Cool. The last one I have is very broad. If you
Okay.
could say anything to the people watching, what would you want to say?
Be nice to people, it's fun to make fun of people, and you should do that too.
Okay.
But always do it in an endearing way, be real. Just be real with people. Don't be fake. Don't do anything, to impress other people. Don't talk behind people's backs. Let's just have a good 2019. Let's have a really wholesome 2019 where we still make fun of each other, but everyone's okay about it.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Luke, for doing this.
Thank you for having me, John.
Where can they follow you on social media?
Follow me at Luke Mize, LUKEMEISS on Instagram and Twitter. Hit me up.
Yep, and be on the lookout for the Bob Zula.
The Bob Zula coming out spring/summer 2019.
Cool. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. Boom.
Put it there. All right. Luke, was that fun?
That was super fun.